Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I've got such a special episode for you today because for the first time ever here on the Design and Align Your Business podcast, I have not one, but two special guests to share with you because as we are building our businesses, we are not meant to build businesses alone as entrepreneurs and CEOs, but building that as a partnership is something also so special and so important for many of us. And I want to introduce you to, first of all, McKenna Dodge, who is a generator with a 1-3 profile. And y'all, this woman, in the little bit of time that I've known her, I already feel the love coming off and all of the wisdom. She's going to have so much for us to share. And Charissa Higgins, who is also a generator with a 3-5 profile. And I have known Charissa for quite a bit longer, and she's got so much spunk and energy. And so I am certain that this episode with three generators sharing wisdom, insight, and fun, you're going to feel a lot of energy coming off of this, especially for the fact that these women help you with your brand, help you with your story, really dive into who you are and what you are here to share with the world. So, ladies, I'd love for you to introduce yourselves. Charissa, why don't you go first?
Well, hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I love all the work you do, and I'm just feel honored to be here along with my bestie, McKenna. So obviously we have a partnership. For me, I profoundly fucking care about activating the most boldness in the creative thought leaders here. I really want people to throw the rule book away. I want them to see how valued they are as women here. And I want them to be able to courageously say what they finally want to say. I want them to be able to come back to their brand so that it feels like home, but more importantly, feels like a breath of fresh air because you can finally be you, right? You can finally say, this is exactly who I am, why I'm here, and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And you are full of fucking energy and boldness and just like want to scream it from the rooftops. I think in any business, that confidence piece and that knowing and understanding exactly who you were here and what you were meant to do in this space is so important. Like no more holding back, right?
Mm,
That's my rule.
I
Your
love
rule.
that. I love that, especially with that 5 line. I can see that innovation, heretic, breaking the rules, totally on brand for you, Charissa. McKenna, introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, everybody. Great to see you or be in your ear holes, whatever. My name is McKenna, and Carissa and I are really the dynamic duo, if you will, here. She's the jelly to my peanut butter, if you will, here at Unbound Branding Agency. And really, the best analogy that we have for like Carissa and I and the way that we work together was a joke that a friend of ours husband actually made, where he said that if McKenna and Carissa were just dropped in the middle of some random field in a remote location in the middle of nowhere, Carissa would be the one frolicking through the fields and dancing with the daisies and taking pictures of everything. Meanwhile, McKenna would be the one triangulating our location, locating the nearest water, and plotting a path to civilization. So, really, ultimately, it's like a lot of us working together, unique personalities and insights and experiences and all of these different kinds of things, skill sets, and even but coming together in a way to really empower women to show up fully in their business and in their brands without having to be someone else or following the shoulds or have tos that some guru said your brand has to be. And really allowing women to create really heart led, aligned businesses that allow them to show up in their most authentic self, in their most authentic truths, in alignment with their values, and creating something that allows them to express their most authentic voice in their industry, in their space, and creating impact as a result of all of these things in this self discovery.
I love this so much because what something you said that really stuck with me is creating both of you said a brand that you feels like coming home to, but also this alignment. And it's such a important thing, especially for the audience here, because we want to build unique businesses, right? We know that we are unique through our human designs and the businesses that we are building, the brands that we're building, the message that we have to share is unique to us. And so I'm excited to dive in deeper and get some nuggets from you all on all of these things branding. But I know you have gone through a big rebrand, just as I have recently been going through that. And I would love for you to share, how did your Unbound Branding Agency come to life?
So, what had originally started as a trio, actually, the original founder of our company who decided that she wanted to create basically some sort of way to serve women in creating what was originally learning how to create income leveraging social media. And we ran with that for a while under a different name. And basically, when she wanted to create this, she was like, I don't want to do it alone. Community was really important to her, and supporting people with a team was really important to her. And so she kind of like, Pikachu, I choose you at, at Carissa and myself. And we were super excited for it to help her. Admittedly, I had no idea who Carissa was. Her perspective on this story was a little bit different. Admittedly, I had zero idea who she was. I was like, oh, all right, there's like this, pretty spunky blonde girl, I guess we're going to work with. All right, cool. I'm excited to meet her. Like, this is going to be good. And initially, kind of my perspective on it was like, wow, she has a lot of energy, a lot of confidence. She's like dancing on TikTok. And I'm just like, all right, that is very opposite of my personality, but all right, like she's going to bring some sweet value to this community. I'm not exactly sure what that's going to look like with the three of us working together, but I'm excited for it. And I'll kick it over to Carissa because her perspective on this one was a little different.
Yeah, this is so funny to think back. So when I first saw McKenna, we had been in like a training platform, like kind of like a big old Zoom mastermind, and there were lots of people in this room. And I would hop on, and every time I'd hop on, this girl with bright red hair would always be talking. She would always answer the questions. She'd always be first to like input. She would help others when they had questions. I was like, who is this chick? Like, she is my very first thought was, she's a know-it-all. Like, she's teacher's pet. That was my very first thought. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so obviously the more we started working together, so I got to get to know McKenna. And the one thing is beautiful, this beautiful thing that I realized is that all these gifts and skills that McKenna has, that I was like, she's a know-it-all. These are all things that I actually wanted more of. And I was drawn to her because now I'm like, oh my gosh, I can actually learn and implement more of what she has into my life and into my business, especially, right? Because I'm just such a wild, free spirit. I'm out of the box. She's more in the box. So it's very much implementation, steps, how to's, breaking down things, makes it very easy for you to understand. And I was like, I need more of that in my life. So my first thought about her was a know-it-all. And now I couldn't be more grateful because we actually needed each other. I needed bits and pieces of McKenna. She needed bits and pieces of me on where we can meet in the middle. And we're still like working on that. But it helped me become a better woman, business owner, and person. And I'm sure for McKenna too. So it's just, it's interesting how we met and where we are today.
Yeah, it definitely went both directions for sure. It was a lot of, seeing Carissa and her confidence and extroverted personality. And I'm like, I'm an introvert with the social battery of a peanut. Like, I'm not what? Ooh, people like dancing on the internet? Absolutely not. Like, thou shalt not, like in my book. And so as time evolves, the original founder decided she wanted to go in a different direction. Her heart was called in a different direction to further find her alignment. And so she was like, I don't really want to do this anymore. I'm going to shut down the company. And Carissa and I didn't have any ownership or anything, but we'd been there since the beginning and we're really passionate about the work that we do. And so we ended up taking over what was the former company basically and taking it, but then uh, adjusting a little bit, recalibrating a little bit, and taking everything that we had built, the clients we had, the foundation that we had built, and really leaning so much farther into our zone of magic, which really focuses around this concept of helping women to really discover not just how to make money online, but to go so much deeper into why you desire to create impact and why you aligned with the offers that you have, and really feeling like they are able to show up in a way that means something to them. Because for Carissa and I and what we do here at what evolved into Unbound Branding Agency, our belief is that your brand isn't something that you do. And for that matter, it's not something that you have either. Branding is really truly the living, breathing embodiment of who you are, what you believe, your story that led you here, and the way that you want to impact the world through your offers. And so your brand doesn't center around what you sell. It centers around this embodiment, your authentic expression of what you believe to be true in your industry and how you desire to create impact in the world. And your offers support that in helping you to create change in the lives of other people.
And this is to add on to that, it's a direct reflection of your life as well. Something that I stand for in this industry is people are trying to imitate these other business owners who have a completely different lifestyle than they do. And they're trying to align their business, how they've aligned their business with their values and what they think is most important in their business and their life. And then you try to do it and you're like, it's not working. It's because you're out of alignment. You're not running from your full values, and therefore your brand isn't in full expression as you want it to be, right?
Well, and one step farther too, it's also the way that you think, your personality, your style, your human design, as it turns out, like the way that you go about life. Like, even though Carissa and I have so many similarities in the brand that we share together,
Mhm.
our personalities and our perspectives can be vastly different at times, even though there's so much overlap, both being generators, these kinds of things. Like, there's also a lot of texture to that, both for our partnership together as a branding agency, but then also for our clients as well. And the opportunity that they have to really see that even though we run the exact same company, we sell the exact same offers, we run our businesses, our brand, our persona, everything, the way we embody who we are looks completely different.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
love
it's
this so much, so much.
I know, I was gonna say you can probably agree, Anna, like the ultimate goal for us is not a number. The ultimate goal for us is complete fulfillment in your life and your business and your values. Like that's what we want you to be completely rooted in so that you actually enjoy showing up for your business and you want to create more. Like it brings more fire, and it's not you feeling like you're fighting against yourself or trying to figure out that disconnect. It's you, fully you, being you, embodying your life in your brand, and it just comes out more natural. And that is, as far as like content, sales, how you meet people, connection, community, it has an effect on everything. And it's huge. It's huge.
It is. Like, everything you ladies have said is so on point and exactly what this community that's listening is looking for and is wants. And what's so interesting as I've been listening to you talk, and I've got a couple of different perspectives, because first of all, I've looked at your charts and I know the similarities and differences. And what's really interesting is even though you do have some similarities, like both being generators, both having three lines, like exactly what you said about the flavor, the texture is different because there's so much nuance within each of our individual human designs, but also our life experiences that led us to where we are, the gifts that are ours based on the different gates in our chart. And I just love that you share this. And I also love the partnership that you have, being so similar, because it's not just that you're looking for someone totally opposite from your human design to either partner with in your business, hire in your business, or anything like that. It's understanding what it is that you are creating, what's in alignment for both of you, and how you get in motion and go into that direction. But one
Mhm.
thing that is coming up, and I would love for you ladies to give some advice or ideas or just where the listeners could start. Because when whoever's listening to this, like, we're looking for some practical ideas. And when we're talking about finding that direction and alignment and all of these things, all the time I hear people saying, well, I don't know. I don't know what my passion is. I don't know what my values are. I don't know these things. And human design absolutely has some clues and direction on that. But I would love, from your perspective with the work that you do, if there's any sort of like What's a first step people can take to start finding that within themselves?
Mm, First step. So I'm going to say the first step, even though you said it already. And it's harder than what everyone thinks. So what we see in this industry is people come to us and the first thing we ask them to do is we dive into their story, really. Like that's where you have to start. You have to understand people. You have to know where they come from, what's important, really get to the bottom of their purpose that they have in their business. Because if you don't have that purpose, that's when you often float in different directions and you don't really stay committed to your big vision, right? Without that purpose. So we have to figure out their purpose, and through this we ask them, we work through their values with them. Now, a lot of people, when you think values, and even I'm guilty of this in the beginning, I was like, I need values. Okay, I'm going to get values. All right, let me go look up some words. So, like, I get up and I start looking in words, and I go on all the sites, like, and even this was like when AI was just coming in. I was like, okay, what are good values to have? Right? So these words would stand out and I'd be like, "Oh, that's me. Oh yeah, that's me. And that's me. Okay, these are my values." It means nothing.
Mm.
Absolutely nothing is tied to these values without a definition. So once I went back and I actually thought, I mean, this probably took me a week of really understanding what I wouldn't live without, what drives me in life, what is most important to me in life, what will I not sacrifice, what is something that like I absolutely always strive to be every single day. So I came up with my values and then I defined them as they meant to me. Nobody else but me. And this is so much easier when you have guidance from someone who's asking the right questions for
Mhm.
you to actually pull it out of you. But once you have those values, like I had about, I would say, I don't know, maybe 15 values, and I narrowed it down to 10, and then I narrowed it down to, I think I have eight, seven now. But all those seven are ones that I will not live life without. They
Mhm.
are my heart and the soul of life and now my business, and this is how I make decisions. This is how we create offers, right? This is how we understand if our clients are right for us. I mean, it is how we do life. And within that, you now see my purpose. Like, okay, my purpose is to make sure that every woman is okay with standing out and being their bold, badass self every single day, because that's when they're going to feel most free in their life and their business. But it stems from your values. So I would say that was a very long answer. The first step is diving into and understanding what you value most, narrowing it down to maybe five values and defining them as you believe they should be defined. So confidence for some people, actually confidence for everybody is going to be defined completely different. Completely. But when you see that, now you know when you're writing and communicating it to people, they understand this is why you value confidence and this is why you want it in your business or life so much, right?
Mm. Love that.
And the important part of that being that the first thing that people go to when they think values, if they're not Googling it, they're like, "Oh, I already know my values," right? Like honesty, integrity, kindness, right? The golden rule, do unto others as that you would want them to do unto you. Like whatever you were handed from society, culture, school, education, experiences, whatever, as a kid, and you're just like, "Oh, like this is values." But what's interesting is when we ask our clients, "Why does that matter to you?"
Yeah.
Or more specifically, what does that mean to you? And they're kinda like, "Oh, yeah, yeah," like, "I don't really know, I've never thought about it." And so, to Carissa's point, like, it's not just about writing down a list of 5 or 10 things that you think sound good. It's the combination of both things that you actually truly hold dear in your life, and then specifically, what does that mean to you? What does it feel like? What does it look like? And why is it so important? So, like, as an example of, I can give 2 examples. Like, some of your values are going to have words that may have overlap with other people. Maybe your highest value actually genuinely is kindness or integrity or whatever. Integrity is one of my personal ones, actually. And That's awesome. But what does it mean to you is going to make it different. In mine and Carissa's case, we work with a lot of women who are generally in the online marketing, direct sales, network marketing, digital or affiliate marketing style spaces. And so, one of the values that's frequently prescribed by the industry is this concept of time and financial freedom, right? What's your highest value? What are you doing this for? What's your purpose? Time and financial freedom. What does it actually mean to you? And most people are like, right? Like paying off debt or like traveling or something. I'm not really sure, but I'll know when I get there. But
Mhm.
when we ask them to define what does that mean to you? What does it look like? What does it feel like? I value time and financial freedom, yes, but my highest value is actually an offshoot of that my movement, my mission in this space centers around this concept of live every day of your life, not for the weekend's vacation or retirement. And so it takes this concept of time and financial freedom and makes it real specific about, are you living with intentionality in your life? Are you living, even if it's just for a few moments each day, like, are you present in the life that you're living? Or are you zombieing through the week to get to Saturday to be like, oh my God, I'm free? And then you have to like catch up from everything you couldn't do during the week because whether it was your corporate job, your day job, your school, your network marketing business that has turned into a hustle hamster wheel, like whatever the thing is that you have going on, that you didn't actually get to live presently during the week. And now it's the weekend, but then you're having to catch up from all the things you couldn't do during the week on the weekend. And then you get to Sunday and you're like, fuck, I got to start it all over again. That to me is not living. So I may understand when someone says, the concept time and financial freedom, but my definition is going to be different because the way that I see that, the way that I value it is different. It's, again, more textured, it's more nuanced. It has special meaning to me. Legit, I want to get this thing in a tattoo and tattoo it on my body because it is my highest value. And it's the reason why I do what I do. It's where in the high ticket affiliate space, in our branding agency, like that Carissa and I run together, like all of the different things that I do or affiliate for or serve people with all comes back to, are you living a life every single day that you actually enjoy intentionally, abundantly? And that also like comes over into the way that we run our businesses. Both Carissa and I together are independent businesses as well. And at the same time, you may have values that you're like, nobody else is actually going to understand this. Like, this is going to mean nothing to anyone, but it doesn't matter. If it means something to you, that's what matters. So, like, if I were to look at one of the values that Carissa and I determined, like Unbound Branding Agency, this is like one of our highest values. It's the concept of the mirror, which if I were to just leave it at that, your audience would probably be really confused right now. They're like, what the crap does that
Sure.
mean? So for us, this concept of the mirror, for us, it means being the mirror. It means it is not our job to tell our clients what their answers are. It is our job to be the mirror, to hold up the mirror to the things that they are saying, that they are expressing when they are in their most authentic self. And to be like, do you see the fucking magic you're spitting out right now that you are discrediting because you think it's not good enough, or you think it's not worthy enough, or you think that someone isn't going to find that valuable enough to show up with that in your business and sell it on the internet?
Mhm.
Our job is to help them find their own inner magic, to help them realize that they had the magic, they had the answer in them the entire time. They just didn't realize that they did because they didn't have the guidance to go deeper and pull it out. And it's not just about us being the mirror, it's also the value of finding the mirror that you need in your life, not looking for someone else to give you an answer that they can't do. They can't give you your answer. You have your answer already. So it's also this concept that we hold dear for ourselves as finding our own mirrors, as well as for our clients. Find the mirror. Don't look for someone else to prescribe you an answer. Know that you have the answer. You may just need help with uncovering what that is. So one of our highest values, it's both being and finding the mirror at the same time. Give me one fucking Merriam-Webster's dictionary word that can embody that and write that on a values list. You can't.
You absolutely can't. And we just were talking all about this and trying to come up with like a model so people can fully understand just how important this is to come up with your values. And we don't have the thing to show you yet. But it's in creation. But it's like I want ultimate fulfillment in your business and life always starts with your values, because once you have your values, then you know your philosophies and perspectives. Like that's why you have your own philosophies and perspectives, because they stem from the values that you have, right? And then from there, that's the direction you take. And then from there, that's the strategy that's going to align with the direction, the purpose, and your philosophies. And that is what equals fulfillment. But if any of those are out of aligned, you will never get to fulfillment. And when you start with just, I'm going to make money, this is going to fulfill me. All right, let's go. Let's fucking make the money. I'm fulfilled. You'll actually be in freaking survival mode. Like just trying to keep up because you're not running on purpose. There's no purpose. There's no philosophy. There's no value. You're just running and running and running and running. I need more, 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 more. That's not what a business should feel like. That's not what your brand should feel like.
Oh, I love this. Just to throw in like a very tangible like idea example in my mind is I think about all of these like giant corporations with employees and their whatever CEOs, right? Whoever's running these companies. And it's not their companies, right? But maybe it isn't. There's so much burnout happening, both in like the traditional corporate space, but even in entrepreneurship, whether that is you are working too hard, which as generators, I like to work hard on the things that I like, but I also like to play hard on the things that I like to play, right? And whatever it is that we're trying to create, whether that is in our lives, in our businesses, when you have that alignment with your purpose, I love that you both have brought that up. Like it doesn't feel the same, right? The burnout doesn't come like in that same way. All these things don't show up. And that added layer of taking your purpose and understanding the values that like really bring that to life. It's such a beautiful thing because I see this all the time with entrepreneurs who are like out there, exactly like you said. Like, I started this business because I want to leave my corporate job, or I have left my corporate job, but I'm working way too hard. Right, it was rooted in money. And yes, we're entrepreneurs. We are here. Like, I'm here as much as the next woman to help you all build that money, just like these women. But here's the thing: is when you don't have that alignment with your purpose, with your values, and doing the work like these women are explaining, like it is deep. It's not just going through like a very quick process to make that decision, because when you are so deeply connected to your purpose and embody that in yourself, in your business, and everything that you're doing, you will sustain what you're creating through the hard times, through the good times, through the expansion in such a different way. And without that foundation, absolutely, I see people all the time like burning out, shutting down their businesses, all of the things. And when you have that alignment, like, and do this kind of type of work that you all are talking about, it absolutely is going to exponentially help you be more successful and more fulfilled.
Oh my, every all of that. We were just having a conversation also about when women reach that point of, they found the success and they love what they do. Like they love the bigger vision and they actually love their purpose, but they do start to feel that disconnect. And that disconnect often happens when you're ready to evolve and you've now outgrown the message that you have for your brand and the business you're creating, and your brand just hasn't caught up to that message. So there's like this gap of, what do I do? Do I just shut it all down? Do I burn it down? Do I start over? And we like want to come in and be like, no, what you've created is brilliant. You're brilliant. We just need to close that gap and get you aligned again with how you've evolved and bring your brand up to that evolution as well, because like you're always evolving and your brand is naturally going to evolve, but your purpose and your values are going to be very, very strong and rooted.
I love that. So as you are thinking about the entrepreneurs out there that you are working with, that you see that really need to do this work, what is like a self reflection? Like, how can somebody know within themselves, these things are starting to come up, like symptoms, it might be the right word. Like, what are they experiencing when they are feeling out of alignment? Just like, because awareness is like the first step, right? Because then you know you need to do something different. But sometimes we're feeling these feelings or having experiences that we don't know that something needs to change. So, do you have any advice on that?
Oh, I think we got a whole list of that.
I think the things that come to mind, like top of mind when you know it's time for your brand to change. And Carissa and I refer to this as expansion. It's not that you have to burn it down or scrap it or start from zero. It's not that anything you did before is bad or wrong or anything. It's just like you have expanded as a human being, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as the magical stardust being having a human experience that you are.
Mhm.
So naturally, your brand has to expand to keep up with that. And some of the things that we've heard from our own clients, when they come to us and they're going through these feelings, they're like, something is off and I can't quite put my finger on what it is. Or they're like, I love my business, but the message that I had before, it just like it used to be so good. And, like,
Mm.
I loved it, and now I'm feeling weird because I'm not in love with it anymore. Like, part of my message still feels relevant, but it feels like it's so much deeper now, and it goes so much farther, and, like, I just can't articulate the way that I want to create impact now that has grown so significantly from when I first identified what my brand was, 6 months, 6 years, whatever ago when you first started. And it's kind of this feeling of like the message I have aligns, sort of, but it doesn't quite encompass the expansion that I've gone through in my journey and the expansion that I want for my clients. And this feeling of like my ideal client, or as Carissa and I refer to it as like your hell yes client. Clearly, we're not PG in our community at all. Like our hell yes client, our clients are feeling like, my hell yes client isn't the person that it used to be. And I kind of feel bad about that or shame or guilt or like somehow I'm leaving them in the dust. But ultimately, the person that I feel most called to serve isn't the same person as it used to be anymore because I've expanded and the way that I can serve has elevated at such a high level. But then, especially as women in the space, we feel bad if we feel like we're leaving someone out or we're leaving someone behind or we've expanded past that. And so there's these like almost internal turmoil, if you will, of like something that I used to love so much just doesn't have the same passion for me anymore. Or my purpose has expanded and it feels like my message and my brand is just kind of falling short, or it's falling on people that I used to love, but I don't think that's who I want to serve anymore. And it's this feeling of like, almost feeling disconnected, if you will, feeling numb sometimes if you're going to create content and you're like, I mean, I know what to say that worked before, but is that actually what I'm passionate about anymore? Am I fully expressing and doing justice to the level of expansion that I've created and experienced within myself? Or am I just showing up with the same old thing because I know it worked before to create success, but I don't feel it anymore?
Yeah, and I think like the most telltale sign, and let me know if you guys can relate, and any of those viewers are like, yes, that like I know when I'm out of alignment and I need to get back in alignment is honestly when I wake up, I don't jump out of bed because I am a 5 o'clock waker upper. I wake up because that's when I need to wake up because I have
Me
kids.
too.
5 o'clock works for me, right? So when I realize that I'm not jumping out of bed excited to work on my business or excited to think of ideas of how I can communicate what I do in my content, like, or if I'm not excited to like go have experiences and thinking about how these experiences relate so much to, once again, like what I do in the life I lead, I know I'm headed down I'm not aligned anymore. Something is off. That disconnect is there. I'm a little bored. like I'm a little bored and I don't want to be bored, but I'm feeling a little bored. But if you're not waking up in the morning excited, there's something going on. If you are like, if you feel like you step into business and it's draining you all of a sudden, look into that. Why is it draining you? Like, what is the one thing that is really feeling off for you? And figure out that answer. Sometimes we don't want to do that because we're like I just want my business to work like it always worked. I want my business to, I want to have the consistency that I've always had. So what the heck's going on? But something is going on when you wake up and it's not there.
I
And
love you even brought this up at an energetic level, right? Like so important that if you do not have the energy, whatever your human design type is, friends, projectors, manifestors, reflectors, mini gens, generators, we all have to have some energy, whether you think you naturally have it or not. But you will be fueled, you will be inspired by this thing, like having the purpose, being in alignment. You will have the energy to create whatever it is you're meant to create. And maybe that's in partnership with other people, or maybe that is on your own, right? Creating your own content or whatever. But I want this like really to sink in for you all, because that is a telltale sign of if your energy feels so drained that you don't want to go do the thing, any of the things. Yes, you might need to like take a little rest or whatever, but that if that's persisting for a long period of time, it's a sign.
Yeah, so Carissa has dubbed me the queen of analogies. And so naturally what's popping into my brain right now is an analogy. And that is that whether you believe that you have the energy, you create the energy, you get the energy from someone else, ultimately that energy is the fuel in your race car, right? Gives you purpose, right? Gives you an ability to move forward. But if you feel like you're out of alignment, it even if you have the energy and excitement, but then you go to create and it feels like it falls flat. It feels like you pedal to the metal, like gun it in your race car, but instead of going in the direction that you want to, you feel almost like it's fighting with yourself. You feel like your steering wheel's just a little bit crooked and you're like, I'm trying to go straight, but it keeps pulling left. And I can't figure like why it feels disjointed. It feels like we're kind of bouncing along the road instead of it being smooth. And that's not to say that entrepreneurship is smooth, right? There's always ups and downs and curves and cracks and like everything in between, right? We all have the days where we feel on top of the world, like we could conquer the world. And then we have the days where we're like, F the world, I'm gonna crawl in my bed right now and cry about it. Like, and everything in between, no matter what your human design or your astrology or moon signs or whatever, like, no matter what it is, there's going to be that fluctuation. But if you feel like consistently or on a regular basis that you're trying to go in a direction and you have the energy or you don't have the energy, but it feels like your alignment is a little bit off, it's going to drain whatever energy that you have because you're not actually able to move in the direction that you want to go because there's something out of alignment and you're fighting yourself. It feels like you're having to work harder to not get as far. And even as far as you do get, you're not as excited about it because you're like, I'm not sure if this was actually the direction that I really wanted to go anyway.
I love that analogy so much because one of the things that I see from people all the time is they're putting all this time, energy, and money into things that they think are going to solve this problem when at the root, it's that they're out of alignment with what they are really meant to create. And you both said this in different ways, but that evolution expansion, like that does happen. Even
Mhm.
whatever success level your business was at beforehand, you will evolve, you will grow, you learn things. We are experiencing things on these journeys with our clients, with coaches we work with friends that we meet, all of the things. And that expansion and evolution may not always be just like overnight, suddenly you're a different person, but there will be a moment when you wake up and you realize that you are a different person and your vision is different and your purpose might be the same at its core, but how you want to fulfill that looks different. And all of these things like are so important. And you may have been doing things before that felt in alignment or were making progress, And then there is that moment, the wake up, whether that's a literal, you wake up in the morning at 5 a.m. like Chris and I and feel different, or it's like just this moment that you realize, awakening and a realization that it's time to do something different. And I love the way that you help entrepreneurs, women do this because also, fun fact, 75% of the world is generators or mani-gens, and we need something to respond to. So if you're going to go
Mm,
try to do this all on your own, like it's going to be challenging, especially if you don't have the expertise in this area, or if you like literally just need something outside of you to get the ball rolling. And so I love that you offer this. One of the things that you shared is that you have a community that you support and that people can get connected in. Share a little bit with us about that.
yeah, so our Unbound brand community, I call it our Unbound fam, right? It's a free community at this point, and we have guest experts that come in. We do trainings every Monday. We do little Monday minutes, but the biggest part of this community is we are completely open to have whatever conversation you need to have with us. Like we are there for you. We want to answer your questions. We want to help you. We don't want you to feel stuck ever. And we're like an open book, basically. Sometimes too open, but we are an open book. And we invite women in who are building those brands, who are ready to go deeper with their message, but just don't know where to start. Like, I'm feeling this. I don't know what's going on. I want to build my brand into something bigger than it is. I'm sick of just running a business. I want a freaking movement in this space. I want to stand for something and I want to be able to communicate it with confidence. That's what we have our group there for. And like I said, we're crazy, but it's free.
That's the heart of service, truly.
Yeah, it's really the place where we get to pour into our community and help them with the entire like reason, kind of coming back to the beginning, like closing this up full circle here, with going through our rebrand and why we chose the name Unbound, because it's really about breaking the molds and the bindings on what your personal brand has to be or look like, and creating this brand that's in full alignment with your values, your beliefs, your mission, and who you are as a person, as in your human design or your archetype or the way that you want to grow or whatever industry that you're in. It's like, how do you reconnect to you and break free of the expectations that everyone else puts on you of what your brand or yourself or your identity has to look like in the way that you desire to serve people? So it's this really amazing opportunity for us to give back value and share all of the lessons, the experiences, the stories, the overcomings, the wins, the losses, pour all of that into our community of mostly women, of online women who are looking to really create something of meaning and depth in their brands. So highly encourage, like, join that community. You can find us at unboundbrandingagency.com/group. We'll connect you over into our Facebook group.
And we'll absolutely have all the links in the show notes. Like, I absolutely love what y'all are doing. If anybody wants to connect with you on social media, how can they find you? Like, what if they want to dive deeper? How can they work with you? Share us all the deets.
So I laugh about this because everyone's like, Facebook, it's the dinosaur of social media. McKenna and I are both on Instagram and Facebook by our names, and that's where we mainly grow. Like that is our home. We are on Instagram as well. It's just not like our home base, right? So if you want to connect with us, obviously here on Instagram, mine's Charissa A. Higgins, and then High Ticket Coach McKenna on Instagram. Facebook's our name. Like I said, we're going to respond much quicker in Facebook because that is our home. That's where we serve most in Facebook still. So that's where you can find us and really connect with us. And we love conversations, we love connecting, and we love helping women get their message out into the world. So whatever that looks like and however we can help you do that, we're there for it.
Amazing, amazing. And I think that one thing, just to wrap this up, is the authenticity that I feel from both of you. And the fact that, like, you not only know yourselves as individuals, but your business and what you're creating and bringing into the world is so beautiful. And it's such an amazing example for the women out there that are building brands, building businesses, to truly lean into that. And I am so glad to have gotten to interview you and have you on the podcast, share all of these amazing nuggets with the audience here. I know they're going to take away so much of it. And thank you so much.
Gosh, thank you, Anna.
You're most welcome.
All right, friends. Until next time, cheers to your success.